Hello, hello, and welcome to Decaf, a production of the Beacon Center of Tennessee. Taylor and Mark back with you on another beautiful Thursday morning well, by the time you guys are hearing it, it's Friday, but it's currently 9 a.m. on Thursday in Nashville, and it is like the most beautiful day we've had maybe in 2023 so far. Mark, have you been outside today?
I have not. I actually had a tough night's sleep last night, so I've just been doing stuff this morning, but I'm looking forward. I'll have to go to walk later if it's so nice out. I did not realize that.
I know you love to walk outside. It is a perfect day. I'm usually a treadmill girl because it's either too cold or too hot. Today's going to be an outdoor walk day for me because it is an absolutely perfect day. I left this morning at 6 a.m. to mentor. Got there, it was super cold. Walked out of mentoring, it was 67 degrees and sunny, and that is the perfect weather. I don't care what anybody says. Some people like it hot, some people like it cold. I like 60s and sunny. It's the best. Mark, I saw you were just drinking an energy drink. I love cracking open a cold one at 9 a.m. And for me, a cold one is an iced latte. Do you have your energy drink this morning?
Yeah, I had the Focus one. I'm actually a little bit annoyed at La Colombe because I love it.
Why?
I think La Colombe is a great thing. But like they sent this email, like we're giving like every purchase you do, we're giving money to the ACLU. I'm like, come on. I know. It's like you don't even have a choice. And it's like, if we sell one of these, it's like, well, I'm not going to buy that kind if that's going to like, and again, the ACLU used to be, okay, they're not anymore, but it's like, and they're just so, La Colombe is the greatest coffee, but they're super, super woke.
The greatest.
It's kind of annoying, but it is what it is.
I don't like that. This tastes so good. This is the only canned iced oat milk lattes that are on the market, and I get them. I buy them in bulk. I love them. I drink one every day. They're good.
They're great.
Wow, I did not know that. I'm very disappointed in that.
I know. They sent me a text like, help support the ACLU. I'm like, no thanks. I'm good.
Actually, I'm not going to do that.
I'm fine.
I'm okay.
The people fighting against school choice in Tennessee, I'm fine not doing that.
Yeah, I'm actually really good. That's an interesting point. The ACLU really did used to be like really great. And then now, people have said that school choice is the civil rights issue of our generation. And so if they're the American Civil Liberties Union, one would think that they would be all about school choice. It's one of those things that absolutely doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, the ACLU didn't used to be really great. They at least used to be consistent, though, when it came to free speech. And now they're not anymore.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. They used to be principled.
Yeah, correct. Not great, principled. And that is somehow gone out the window recently.
To me, if you're principled, I can disagree with you and still think you're great because at least you have a standard. That's where
I would never call Bernie Sanders great, though. I would not describe him that way.
But at least he's got principles, and at least he's consistent, and you always know what to expect from him. You might notice that I'm wearing my Alabama sweater. We will get to that later. But first, let's talk about another little cute Southern issue in Tennessee. There's a lot going on politically. We're going to prefer to stay away from some of those things and talk about something that's happy going on in Tennessee right now. Anyone who knows me knows that I am just the Southern girl. I keep hydrangeas in a vase on my table. I love serving off a silver platter. I loved reading Garden and Gun and Good Grit magazine and Southern Living, Town and Country. I love all of those things. And Southern Living has chosen Leapers Fork in Tennessee to be the location of their idea house, their quintessential Southern home that people can come and see and get ideas from. I spent 3 years in Nashville before I ever went to Leapers Fork, and it is the cutest little place I think I have ever seen. And that's one of the things that I love about being from the South. In Alabama, there are a lot of cute little Southern towns. If you've never been to Fairhope, you should go.
Oh, it's great. One of the best.
It's so great. But in Tennessee, there are also so many cute little places that I just love to visit. Some of them are much more off the beaten path than others, but Leapers Fork is a hidden gem, and I'm so glad it's getting the recognition it deserves. Mark, what are some of your places?
Well, I do love Leapers Fork, especially when it's not crowded. It's actually way more fun to go like the winter or kind of late fall before people like really get there. Because in the summer, it is packed every Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I really love Jonesboro. I don't know if you've been to Jonesboro. It's over kind of by the Tri-Cities. It reminds you of Leapers Fork, except it's a little bit cuter, and I think it's actually better than Leapers Fork, but there's not a lot in terms of bars or restaurants. I don't think they have any bars. I think they have one restaurant. So it's more like shops and cool buildings, but still really great to see. I know it's not exactly a small town, but I love downtown Bristol. I don't know if you've been there.
Oh, I've never been to Bristol.
and it's cool because it's kind of on the Virginia-Tennessee border, so half of the city is in one, half of the downtown's in the other, which was a real problem during COVID because I think Tennessee had much, much better rules than Virginia. So like one part of it would be shut down while the other part was like thriving. So I love that. And then I really like Greenville and Bell Buckle. There's some of the smaller ones. And of course, I mean, I don't know if we call them great place, right? And I don't know if we call it small or not, but I mean, I really like Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge.
I'm here you're here for the bars and the nightlife. I'm here for the views. And so
not nightlife. Like I go to bed at like 7, or 8, like day life, where food and alcohol and cool buildings.
That's true. Well, I'm here for the views, and I love how mountainy Tennessee is. And when I go home to Alabama, I drive down 24 and then take 59 down through Georgia into Alabama. But all those little areas on the way to Chattanooga and around Chattanooga, I love Monteagle. I love driving over Monteagle. It's so beautiful. Signal Mountain, beautiful. Oh, yeah. The whole lookout area. Tennessee's just got, and there's one little drive as you're about to enter into Chattanooga where you go over that dam. And
I love that.
On the interstate, and there's the water on both sides of the road. I drove down there once too. I think I was like surprising my sister for her birthday or something, and I left Nashville at an ungodly hour and was driving over that dam as the sun was rising. And y'all, it was the most beautiful thing. There was fog on the water. Her birthday's in April, so it's usually that kind of like fog weather. There was fog over the water. The sun was rising. All the trees had just started blooming, beautiful chartreuse greens and purple flowers. I will never forget that. And so I think, like I said, I love being from Alabama. I think it's a beautiful state, but nothing holds a candle to Tennessee. I think we live in the cutest, most beautiful state. Even places like Thompson Station, just south of Nashville, there's not a lot there other than farmland, but the farmland is beautiful. And there's a really cute little restaurant called Circa. I haven't been there in a long time. I hope it's still there. But there are so many precious places in Tennessee that I think Southern Living should just pitch their tent here and do stories all about Tennessee as long as they can, because it's really great and it draws positive attention to Tennessee, which I love.
And what's funny is like Nashville might be like the least pretty area of the whole state. And it's still pretty because it's like you had the mountains on one end, like the beautiful kind of the northeast, all the mountains and the Blue Ridge Mountains. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Blue Ridge. I didn't sleep much last night. Yes. Then in Chattanooga, and you have like the water. I know it won a bunch of like awards for best outdoor city. And then you have, Memphis is on the water there, and Nashville's kind of on the water, but then you have all this beautiful farmland between it and like the rolling hills. It is a nice, I'd say it's top 3 or 4 of prettiest states. I personally like a little bit. I like the mountains with snow on them, which we don't really get much. Like I like Colorado or Alaska or Montana.
Yeah.
But for where we're located, not on the ocean or not, northern of the mountains, it's about as good as you could possibly hope for.
I totally agree. Temperate weather until mosquito season happens, which is almost mosquito season, and I'm terrified. But very temperate weather, beautiful places to hike. Ron and his wife actually go to all the state parks and hike. Now she's very pregnant, so they don't do that. But they used to go to all the waterfalls and state parks and hike. And so that's something that I want to check off my list a lot this fall, is doing a lot more hiking and a lot more sightseeing all over Tennessee. A beautiful place to live.
I'm glad somebody else brought that up, because otherwise you would have ruined Ron's pregnancy surprise if it wasn't for somebody else in his family bringing that up, right? That would have been so mad at you if somebody found out from this show. But yes, Ron is having a child. Been
furious. Ron is having a child due fairly soon. It's happening. So congratulations to Ron and Kristen for that. Let's talk about something spicy. Or maybe not spicy. I'm not sure if it's actually going to end up being spicy or not. But President Trump seems to think he's getting indicted. I personally don't really follow all of this spicy news. Nothing has happened. It's now been 48 hours since he said he was going to get arrested, and he hasn't been arrested. Mark, what is going on, and why does the man think he's getting arrested? I don't understand.
I mean, Alvin Bragg, who's the DA for New York, and he's a very, very, very far left DA. He's been going after him for the supposed hush money payments to Stormy Daniels for their affair. And I guess there's been some smoke on there, and kind of where there's smoke, there's fire. And I think that, they have a grand jury ready or something like that. But Trump said last week, like, I'm going to get indicted on Tuesday. Nothing happened on Tuesday. Nothing happened yesterday. I think it's kind of probably I think Trump is probably using this to raise money. He's already raised a ton of money on this because people are saying, this is political persecution, stuff.
I've been getting those emails. I've been getting those fundraising emails.
Yeah, but there's nothing to it because Alvin Bragg is clearly looking into this. It's a really weird, of course, I'm not a lawyer, but from a legal precedent, whether or not, and I don't even know if it's, for sure true. I mean, obviously it doesn't look good when you have this payment to a adult film actress who there's just a lot there that doesn't look good. Yeah, it doesn't look good.
Kosher.
And even Ron DeSantis kind of comes like, I don't really know about what it's like to give hush money to porn stars. So I'm not really sure what's going on there after Trump has just attacked him for the last couple of months. But outside of all that and what's, morally acceptable, it's if he does get indicted, it's almost certainly a political hit job. I mean, this is a small amount of money for some personal issue. I think it's all not even proven yet. I mean, obviously, I think that, you can read between the lines and say, well, I mean, it looks likely, but that's not the same thing as proving it. And even if it was true, how does this rise to the level of criminal federal offense? Right? Like, Bill Clinton lied under oath, and he didn't get charged for that.
Right. But that's the kind of world that we're living in right now. Everyone uses the government, and I will talk about this until I am blue in the face. When you use the government to beat up on your political enemies, that is despicable. That, to me, is just like, you shouldn't be trusted in public office for doing that. And that's what just disgusts me about every time they say, we're going to sue this person. The government's going to go after this person. We're going to use the IRS to go after these groups. We're going to do whatever. Like, cool it. Stop doing that. That's not what we do. That's not okay.
And there's no way to say, like, if this goes through, because again, nothing's happened yet, but if this goes through, there is no way to say that this is not politically motivated. If you did this, if any other citizen did this and they were whatever for $130,000, whatever, it would be like, oh, here's a slap on the wrist and a $500 fine or something. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Like, but it would not go to this level. And it's clearly, no matter what you think about it or what you think about it morally or on these things, this is clearly a political hit job. And I think a lot of people, including myself, think that if they do this and they do indict him, it will only help him win next time. I think the person who
Elon Musk
hurt the most by this. Yeah, I mean, and it's hard to, because it's anybody who's normal. So it's like, look, whether or not I think this happened or I agree with it, because I think, most people probably think it did happen, that he did have an affair, and to some extent. But it's like, what are they doing this for? This is clearly a very far left person from New York persecuting his political enemies because he can. And that is not the country we believe in. I think the person hurt the most by this is probably Ron DeSantis, because, I think a lot of people who are, quite frankly, tired of Trump's shtick and say, I'm just done with this. I want to move on from this. I just want somebody who I think can win and isn't going to cause all the drama in the media. Some of those people were on DeSantis' side if he runs, and they're like, well, if they're going to keep doing this to Trump, I'm going to back him. So I think that I don't know if it's a strategy that they're going to do this because they want to run against Trump. I have no idea what it is, but it's not good, and it does. Our country is better than this.
We're better than this.
Yeah, and it's funny hearing the lesson, if you don't want to be indicted, don't commit a crime. It's like, these are the same people when we talk about criminal justice reform saying, just because they committed a crime doesn't mean that they should be put in jail forever. It's like, you can't have it both ways. It's the same thing as we always talk about. I don't know if he committed a crime or not. If he did, it seems like it would be a misdemeanor, not a felony. But I don't know. It's clearly reeks of politics, and I think that's really sad. And hopefully, truly, I don't think he should be indicted for this. I hope he's not indicted. I think it's only going to lead to the more polarization in our country and more people with, having a vengeance. And again, a lot of things Trump says are crazy, I think, just personally, not politically. But some of the stuff he says comes true. And it's like, this is kind of stuff that he says, like, they're targeting me. They'll do anything to bring me down. It's like, and it's like, that didn't have to be true. But the left made it true by doing, but the left was making him look smarter than maybe he was at the time because they're doing all the stuff he said they were going to do. So who knows? It's nothing's official yet. Maybe it's going to die. Maybe it's all smoke. There's a real chance of this. It's already 2 days after he said it was going to happen. So we don't know what's going to happen. But if they do, I think it'd be a real mistake, and I think it'd be a really bad look for America and really the Democrats generally. I think it would be bad for.
And it sets a dangerous precedent. And I'm afraid that precedent's already established. I mean, we see it all the time. You go after your political enemies using the strong arm of the government. It's a dangerous precedent. And we can't keep doing this or it's going to be, I mean, we see what happens. You see what happens in countries that use the government to go after political enemies. America has to, we got to be more careful. We can't slide down that slippery slope.
Donald Trump literally broke the left. I mean, he broke them. Like in this way that they are. And again, he also, I'm not saying that in a good way, right? It's like he also, a lot of people,
I'm laughing because it's true.
Yeah, he obviously lost, but it's like he has made them so insane about everything because they hate him so much.
Hate him so much.
I mean, of course, they, George W. Bush took a lot of heat and stuff, but like this is next level where like they are willing to do things that are probably illegal, certainly political. And he just, Donald Trump is somehow, he has just broken them and has made them go crazy, which I think is one of the reasons that people on the right like him. But it's also partially the reason that, I mean, the things that he's done to break them is part of the reason he probably didn't win in 2020. So it's kind of like, I get both sides of it.
I know. I totally agree. At first it was almost like funny to see the full
it was
meltdown
super funny
of the left.
Yeah.
Now I'm worried. Like, I'm kind of worried. And I don't know what's going to happen in the next election. And I think a lot of it hinges on whether or not he is indicted this week, next week, in the next few months. So stay tuned because we have a lot of thoughts.
It does feel like the left is doing everything they can to throw away a chance to win. It feels like everything that Trump's, because I feel like Trump does a lot of things. It's like, well, that's going to hurt you. That's going to hurt you. I feel like the left is really matching him in the, this is going to hurt us now. So it's just going to be a bunch of people trying to lose an election, it seems like. I
know. They're in a horse race to see who can lose the worst. Yeah. Let's talk about March Madness for a second. I pointed out earlier, I'm wearing my old school Alabama sweater because I am in a bracket with one other person, my fella, and he is kind of a nerd in a sweet way. And he did some math I call him a nerd all the time. I call him a nerd. I'm like, it's a compliment. I've always wanted to date a nerd. And
it's not a compliment. That's like calling somebody.
It is a compliment. It is.
It's not a compliment. It's how he takes it. If he doesn't think it's a compliment, it's not a compliment. I would not think it was a compliment. I'd be like, that's rude.
I'm trying to think it's a compliment because I love nerds.
It's not. It's like, you're a degenerate. Oh no, it's a compliment.
That's way different.
You're a complete moron idiot. Oh no, it's a compliment. Don't worry about it. That's like a bless your heart type thing.
No, it's sweet. Okay, yes, I'll take it back.
It's not sweet.
And I'll say he's very, very smart. He is a very smart guy. He does math really well. And he told me the other night, he said, I did some math. And the only way that you can win our bracket is if Alabama wins the whole thing. And so I'm just doing that thing where you will it into existence that Alabama is going to win the whole thing. Mark, I know you have thoughts. I know you don't think it's going to happen. I can't say whether or not I rationally think it's going to happen because I have to will this into existence. But all that to say, my bracket last week, it was an absolute disaster. I was kind of laughing at people after the first round, like the people on ESPN. I was watching Charles Barkley like Xing off everybody's things and like laughing about it. And I was like, ha ha ha, all you suckers, y'all make bad picks. And then Saturday happened. And it was just an absolute disaster, like a dumpster fire. My bracket is a dumpster fire. I should have, and this is the only time I will say this, I should have taken your advice, Mark. I should have picked some of those underdogs I was at the symphony Saturday night and my phone's blowing up with upset. I was like, why didn't I listen to Mark? I've never thought that.
I know. First of all, anybody's good at math compared to you. So it's not just him. It's pretty much anybody.
That's also true. That's really true.
I will say my bracket, my betting's going much better than my bracket is because there was a couple teams that I lost. I was really, really disappointed in Virginia. That first round loss, that really hurt me. But
that wrecked us.
Alabama's got a real chance. I still am going with my pick beforehand is Houston. They're still in it. They have a really But I mean, Alabama is a slight favorite to win it all. They are the odds-on favorite to win it, so it's certainly possible.
Hoping for the best.
Yeah, honestly, my bracket is also not good, so some of the advice might have helped you in the first round. I will say the thing that makes me look the best, I was wrong about a lot of the Final Four picks, but calling Princeton on this show in the first round was, and betting Princeton too, not just calling them. I picked them to win betting-wise, so it was a good day for me.
Who was that school that you won all that money on? Like
Fairleigh Dickinson.
Dude,
yeah,
that was so unexpected. That was incredible.
To be clear, I didn't actually think they're going to win. I just said, well, they're 40-1, and I've watched them play. They have some really good guards, and Purdue was the worst 1 seed. So that was more of like I don't think they're going to win, but I think they have a better than 40-1 chance to win, that's how you're supposed to bet. It's not whether you think they're going to win or not. I think they have a better than the odds I'm getting. And they won, and they really dominated, and they won. Yeah, I mean, they won 2 games, and they played really tight against Florida Atlantic, who is UT's opponent tonight.
Yes, I was babysitting Friday night, and I put the kids down, and as soon as the kids were down, you started blowing up my phone like this game is insane. So I immediately turned it on and saw the last little bit of it. Man, they outplayed Purdue. Like they were playing like their lives depended on it, which I mean it did.
They do at that point. That's what's so cool. And like that was I read a lot of articles about it, but that was the biggest upset ever in college basketball because this is the team that was ranked 301 out of 363. They didn't even win their conference. The only reason they got in the tournament was because their team who won the conference wasn't eligible yet because they had just went from Division III to Division I. So they lost the regular season. And so it wasn't, they weren't even the best team. It was the lowest rated conference in America. And they go out and unfortunately, which this always is kind of tough to see, but their coach already left for another job. So he left for the Iona job when Rick Pitino went to St. John's. He left for Iona. So it's like he did all these great things, and now it was it was a coaching clinic. He outcoached Matt Painter the whole game.
Yeah.
And he outcoached Johnny Jones before that at Texas Southern. So it's tough to see that every time that happens, it seems like they leave. I mean, remember the St. Peter's thing of last year? The moment that happened, he left for Seton Hall, and it's just part of the game. But it's a shame. And I think Florida Atlantic's coach, they've had an excellent year as a surprise team. He's probably going to be going somewhere else next year. Every time one of these guys does well, it's a shame, but they're going to leave for somewhere better.
I know, it's terrible. So what do you think is going to happen with Florida Atlantic and Tennessee? Do you think that Tennessee's got it in them?
So this is going to be – I think it's going to post after it happens, so I'm going to either look stupid or smart. Tennessee's a 5-point favorite. I like Florida Atlantic outright. I think Florida Atlantic's going to win the game. It's going to be close. Okay. Tennessee just hasn't – they haven't played anybody yet, in my opinion, in this tournament, and they look bad at the end of the regular season. I'm not a huge fan of theirs, and they lost who I consider the most important player. So if it's not Florida Atlantic, they will lose next game. That's going to be really close. But it'll be really interesting to see. And at this point, I'm still going with Houston, but I think that Houston-Miami game is going to be real fun. And Miami might be the bet. They're a really tough test. So Houston could go down in this game. So there's going to be a lot of great games. There's a lot of fun stories still with Princeton as a 15 seed still in it.
I know.
And I think they have I don't know if they're going to win, but they're going to play. They've been looking really good. They're going to have a shot to beat Creighton. And if that happens, that'll be the farthest ever that high of a seed went if they're able to beat Creighton.
That's going to be incredible. Well, that will further screw up my bracket, but that's just showbiz at this point, baby.
The thing is, at Alabama. This point, you want all the crazy things to happen. Because if you already lost teams there, you're just cheering for madness because you want other teams to lose teams. Like Creighton's a team that somebody might have. So cheer for Princeton.
That's true. I want anarchy. I want chaos now. That's what I want the most.
Chaos except for Alabama.
Except for Alabama. We got to get the Tide to the finish line.
Who does Blake have winning, by the way?
Houston.
Smart, man.
I know. We both have Alabama and Houston in the championship game. I have Alabama. He has Houston. So
you would have been better doing something else. You would have been better picking a different team other than Houston.
I didn't know who he was going to take. We didn't talk about it at all. We said we weren't going to talk about it at all, but we did have a discussion that if it is Alabama and Houston in the final two, we will not watch the game together because our relationship does not need that kind of conflict. Marquette really, really screwed me over too. Mark, you mentioned that you're going back to Marquette soon. You're going back to Milwaukee. Are you going to give them a little talking to because they really hurt us. They
need it. I know. It's such mixed feelings about that because it was such a overachieving year and we did so well. And, you know, it was incredible that we were even there in the first place. But at the same time, it's like we lost to a team we were probably better than.
I know.
The only good thing is that there's not one senior on Marquette's team. So everybody should be coming back next year and they should be much better next year, which is crazy to say. But it was disappointing and it was tough. But yeah, I'm going back to Marquette for Milwaukee for my friend Monty's wedding. I haven't been in about 8 or 9 years. It's been a long time. But I'm really excited to see it. I know it's much different than when I went there, but it's always really kind of, I mean, you know, going back to your college town, it just really brings back a lot of memories, a lot of great experiences. You know, you think about all your friends and roommates and, you know, places you used to eat and hang out. It's going to be a cool experience. I'm really excited. And Kira's coming with me, so she'll see some of the places, although it's much different now, but at least some of the areas I used to hang out at.
I know. I think about that a lot. When the last time I was in Tuscaloosa was in 2020 for my sister's 2021 for my sister's college graduation, her master's graduation, and everything looked different. You know, when I went there, we had a whole different sorority house. They have since built a new sorority house that she was living in. And I'd been to the sorority house before, but everything felt different. Alabama had such a boom in enrollment after I graduated in 2014. Everything looked different. Some of my favorite places were no longer there. There were all these new cute places. I kind of want to like go back for a weekend and just experience it, but then I'll get really sad when I see everybody like day drinking at the fraternity houses, and it would be weird for a 31-year-old woman to go and join them. I don't think that I could do that, but it is kind of weird to go back.
Yeah, you're too old for that now. That's what I always felt. It's like after about like 3 or 4 years out of college, you still kind of look like you're in college and like you can kind of hang with them a little bit. And like, you know, they're not going to, but at this point, and I'm well past it, it's like you're like, I feel they look like they're 12 and I feel so old going here.
I know. In 2019, I went to my sister's last sorority parents weekend. And she was dating her now husband. And he said, Taylor, come with us to the Phi Gam house. We're having a day party. And I walked around introduced myself to everyone as Ryan's mother because I felt so old there. I just felt so old. I'm like 5 years older than them. And I felt so old. I kept saying, hi, I'm Ryan's mom. And everyone was like, but I felt so old, and I thought to myself, I will never do this again. This is really, really weird.
It is. And I'm lucky I'm actually driving to Milwaukee because I want to get my favorite beer, which is only sold in Milwaukee. So I'm going to bring back a couple cases. Spotted Cow, it's the best beer ever. And not in Milwaukee, sorry, they always sell it in Wisconsin. So they will not allow any other store to sell it. Even like 1 mile outside of Wisconsin, they will not allow it. It's part of their deal with everybody. So like, and it is the most delicious, best. It's such a good beer. So we're going to go up. We're going to go to Geneva, Illinois. That's where Kira's from for a couple days.
Aww.
And then spend 5 days in Milwaukee. So it should be a good time. And I'm just excited to have Spotted Cow on tap too. When you go to bars, it's like you can just get it. So I'm not drinking like the whole month before that because I want Spotted Cow.
Because you're going to send it on the Spotted Cow.
Yes,
I'll Venmo you to bring me back a little 6-pack of that so that I can enjoy it. Or
I'll give you one. I'm not going to if I'm going to bring it back, I'm going to drink it. I'll give you one of them though. You can try it.
Okay. I will definitely try one. Okay, I am so down
It's the
for that.
Smoothest, best beer you'll ever taste in your life, and like everybody thinks that.
I love beer, so I can't wait to try that. That sounds amazing.
It's a perfect beer.
Okay, Spotted Cow. I'm about to look it up as soon as we get off this call. Mark, you got any final thoughts before we sign off for the day?
Nope. Just ready to get to work and do great things.
Let's get to work. Let's do this. Let's get to work. Roll Tide. Thanks for listening to Decaf. Be sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. It's been great to be with you again this week, and we will see you next week.